What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 13 of my poker vlog. In this vlog, we go to the wonderful city of Las Vegas. I do apologize that it took a while to get this one out. We were there for 4 days and we played 40 hours of poker. I tried to condense it all into one vlog, but it didn't really seem like it was going to work out, so now I'm splitting it into 2 vlogs. This will be part 1. And part 2 should come out pretty soon after because I've probably done about 50% of the editing for that video as well. So look out for that really soon. And in this vlog, we're going to talk about the first 2 days and some of the sessions that we had during that time. As always, thank you for tuning in. And if you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, and comment, as it really does help the channel. All right, so it's Wednesday morning. We are having some breakfast, and then we're going to drop off the little one at Grandma's and head to the airport, because today we're going to Vegas. Say Las Vegas. Yeah. So we got checked in at our hotel at the beautiful Aria. The view leaves a little bit to be desired, but we'll survive because we're probably not going to spend that much time in the hotel room. So after checking in at our hotel at the Aria, we decided that we would head over to the Bellagio and get into the 2-5 game. As we arrived, we noticed that they were having some festivities related to Chinese New Year. So we decided that we would hang out for a bit and soak it all in. So we're here at the Bellagio Conservatory. I guess Chinese New Year just happened, so it's the year of the pig. Happy Chinese New Year. So we had a pretty rough session. We ended up in for 4 buy-ins, 500 each, and we got stacked with the last buy-in. So minus 2,100 for the session. Not a great way to start our trip in Vegas. Interestingly, the very first hand, before we even had chips, we got pocket aces, but didn't really do much. We raised, got 1 caller, and then they folded to a C bet. We also had pocket aces another time, same thing, raised, got a caller, fold the c-bet. Had kings, we 3-bet them pre-flop, fold. So a lot of our really strong hands, we didn't really get involved in any decent sized pots. We did get involved in a lot of hands where we had second best, and some hands where we just got straight up coolered, and also we got snapped off on a couple bluffs. After the Bellagio session, we were thinking about going back to the room and just going to sleep. It was getting a little bit late, but my traveling companion suggested, hey, why don't we go play some PLO at Aria? It took a little coaxing for me to go because I was feeling a little beat up after the Bellagio, but we went ahead and headed over to the Aria and got in the 1-2 game. The 1-2 game has a $5 bring-in, so you can straddle for 10.
So in this hand, we are under the gun with ace, queen, 8-8 rainbow. This is not a hand that I would generally open with under the gun. It's just a little bit too weak 8-handed. In this instance, I decide to go ahead and make a bet of 15. And the reason I did this is because I'm only in Vegas for a few days, and this table is pretty underwhelming as far as the strength of the players, and we're all pretty deep. I'm sitting 1K effective with a good portion of the table. So based on this, I think we can justify raising this hand from early position. We would definitely raise this hand if the ace was suited, but I think generally we would prefer to fold here when we're in early position. But of course, we don't. We bet 15. We get 2 callers, one from middle position and one from late position. The flop is king 10-8 rainbow. This is an interesting flop for us for multiple reasons. Of course, the most obvious one, we flop bottom set. Bottom set is not super fantastic in PLO, but against 2 other players, it's still pretty strong. And the best part is we've got a nut straight gut shot to go with it. So if we hit the jack, we make the nuts. The board is rainbow, so we don't have to worry about running into any flushes unless they go runner. So I want to put in a bet here, and since I'm betting from early position and there's 2 people left to act, I go ahead and do a full pot bet, and I bet 45. We get 1 caller from middle position. The turn is a king of clubs. This card it's not great. It does give us a boat, but now we're sort of limited in the hands that our opponent will continue to call with that we beat. We know that he could have a hand like king 10 or king 8, which is beating us now. And he also could have already been beating us with a hand like 10s. But if he's drawing to a straight, then we might not get any more action from him, because a lot of times when the board pairs like this in PLO, people do not want to continue with their straight or flush draws because they might already be beat. That being said, he could have just a king. And I think that if he has just a king, he'll probably call at least 1 bet. So we go ahead and make another pot size bet. We bet 150. He thinks for a little bit and he puts in the call. The river is a 5 of diamonds. Now here's the thing. We did bet the turn expecting to get some value from just a king. But the problem is we don't really anticipate that if we make another decent sized bet on the river that we'll get called by just a king. It's possible, but sort of unlikely. This player in particular, we had spoke a little bit at the table, and he seemed to be one of the more strategic players at the table. I didn't see him as the kind of player that would call off another 400 or 500 with just a king. So with that being said, I decided to check. I think that the check is the best option here because we're going to call pretty much any bet that he puts out. But we don't really want to get raised when we bet, and we also don't think that when we bet that he's going to call much with hands that we beat. So we do check, and he checks behind. At this point, we figure our hand is almost certainly good, so we roll it over, show the boat, and he taps the table for good hand. So we're going to scoop this one. We're off to a good start. We bought in for 500 and we've managed to put our stack up to about 1200 at this point. In this hand, we have ace, queen, queen, 5, single suited in the small blind. We're going to be about 500 effective with the players in this hand. Straddle for 10 is on. The cutoff calls, the button calls, and we decide we're going to go ahead and bump it up. We bet 55. The reason we do this is because our hand is not the type of hand that's going to play super well in a multi-way pot. So if possible, we'd like to narrow it down to 1 or 2 opponents in the hand. The big blind flats my bet, and the straddler 3 bets to 100. The cutoff folds, the button calls, and it's back on us. Pretty much never going to fold to this bet. It is a super small 3 bet, so we're getting a great price. And considering that the big blind will probably also call, we're going to be getting an even better price. So I go ahead and call. However, that's when we get a surprise. Big blind, after cold calling my initial bet, 4 bets to 425 all in. And the straddler says, "You're not getting my money for free," and sticks in the rest of his stack. So he's got a total of 365. The button folds and it comes back to us. Not really feeling too great about my hand here. We're getting a pretty good price considering that there are 2 players all in. We're getting about 3 to 1 on our money here, so it could make sense to call, but the way this hand was played, I feel like there's a high chance that the big blind has either aces or kings. We do block the aces, but the way he played his hand to me is really suspicious. The fact that he just flatted my initial bet and then came back with the 4 bet after the 3 bet. It seems like when people do something like that, it's usually because they have aces or kings or something really strong that when they see money start moving in, they want to go ahead and try to get it heads up for all the chips. So I go ahead and make a fold. I'm not sure if you'd call this an exploitative fold. It might be because of the price that we're getting. But it turns out that we were correct. The player to our left in the big blind did have aces. We didn't get a chance to see the straddler's hand. The flop came with an ace. Turn and river were blanks. And the big blind showed his aces and took the pot. We ended up doing pretty good in that game. We played about 3 hours and we cashed out with a profit of 1,200. So still stuck for the trip, but we managed to make up for some of what we lost to Bellagio. Not really sure what the plan is today. I know that we really want to go play some 2-5 at the Wynn, so hopefully today we do a lot better. Before we headed to the Wynn, we decided to get some food at the Burger Bar, which is in the Mandalay Bay Mall. Awesome place to go. I've been here before. Great burgers. It's run by a French chef, Hubert Keller, who's highly respected in the food communities. And if you are going to grab some food, this is definitely a spot that you might want to check out. Wait a second. Is that who I think it is? You're going to have to wait till part 2 to find out who sat in this seat right here.